Hello, hello. What up? It's your boy, the Stinkler, aka the Stinky Guy, aka the Stink, and I'm back again with another music review. Jude just released his new album, God Does Like Ugly, and well, I had to listen to, it. I had to listen to, it. I really like the Forever Story by Jid. That's like the only album of his I listened to. I've meant to listen to more, like the DiCaprio too, but it's whatever. But I had some pretty high expectations going into God Does Like Ugly because I think Jid is very talented. I think he's very underrated. I don't think that he's got 21 million monthly listeners, so he's not exactly unpopular. You know what I mean? He certainly is a popular artist, but I don't think he gets the love that he really deserves for how good he really is. I think he deserves way more attention than he should be having. And I was doing a little bit of research on this album, just kind of like looking into some things to see if maybe I could get a better grasp on what the album was trying to say as a whole. And I found something very interesting that I think gives me more context. And the term "God Does Like Ugly" comes from, or the phrase "God Does Like Ugly" comes from his grandmother, who sadly passed away in like 2019 or 2020, I believe. And she used that phrase to kind of say that God does like ugly because he allows bad things to happen. He likes ugly because those ugly is the bad things that are happening to people, which is a very interesting idea and concept in a way. And I think that adds more context to this album. God Does Like Ugly runs at 57 minutes with 15 tracks, so it is about an average length, almost an hour, but only 15 songs. So these songs are a bit longer than usual. I would say not usual, like some are 3-4 minutes long. So they're jam packed with a lot in there. It's a whole. You're getting the meat and potatoes with these songs. The first track is You Ugly, which has a really amazing beat. The production is really good on this song, this track, all overall. I think West Side Gun is a good feature on this. I think he really fits on to this beat that You Ugly provides for the listener here. I think he works really well on it. It's such a crazy way to start the album. Like the song is just so good, and it starts this album off so well. The angelic singing in the middle is pretty fire. It reminded me of New Slaves off of Yeezus in a way because it's just this like really hard beat, and it's just like Jid just going at it, and then it's just this like you know very very different part in the middle of the song, and then it goes back to the way regularly scheduled program. And he also mentions Jamar Chase, which I think is it's kind of funny. I always love it when rappers just mention random people. It always gets me going. Glory follows this, and I think this is one of the best beats on the whole album, and I really love the sample. Jid is spitting all over this track. He is doing something crazy. The beat switch caught me off guard, but it's nice as hell, really good. And he couldn't. A bar that I really liked was he couldn't help but eat the apple. Next is Work, and this was teased before the album actually dropped, and I think this is one of my least favorite songs on the album. I think it's pretty good. I think that his wordplay is really cool here. Like and I saw a really good breakdown of the part where he's mentioning like 1952 Dodge, but in 1955 or something. And the breakdown was kind of him like being ahead of the game or something. I don't know. That could have been a stretch from that video, but I think that there's a lot that you can break down. I think the song is lyrically interesting. I think it's just it falls in the lower end of this album for me because of how great some of these other songs are. But in no means is Work bad at all. I think this is a very listenable song. I think it's a song that fits on the album very well. I think it is a song that, makes this album worth listening to. Community, which is I think my favorite song off of this whole album. I like the talking at the beginning, kind of sets a good vibe for how the rest of the song is gonna play out. I love the feature of clips here. Pusha and Malice, I mean, really do their things on here. Malice has an amazing verse. Pusha has an amazing verse. And Jid has an amazing verse. It is just all three of them working so well together to make an amazing song. Jid mentions at least on Al Gaib, which I think is a really cool reference, so that gets some bonus points from me. And my jaw dropped when I heard Pusha and Malice come on, and one of my favorite lines off of this track is when kings can't raise a young prince, the doves cry. And I was like, man, whoa! I literally paused the song and I had to write that down because I was like, that shit goes hard. Geez, this has a pretty spooky beat. It's just Jid, no features on this. I think it has a really good flow, and I think it just gets better and better as you keep listening to the song. And I really like the hook as well. Next is VCRs. In the beginning of this track, gives me like 60s vibes. And then it has a crazy change up to this really just hard beat, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when I heard this. I was stunned. I love the acoustic guitar on this, and it gives very like Italian vibes. I feel like I'm in like the mob or something, and Vince Staples be doing his thing on this track. His skate, featuring Sierra and Earth Gang. I don't know who Sierra and Earth Gang are. Well, Sierra and Earth Gang are, but you know, this is a pretty good song. This is, I think, one of the better songs on the album. Before I ever listened to this, I opened TikTok and I was like, oh yeah, this album dropped today, because I kind of forgot a little bit. And someone said that Skate was the worst song, and I think that they were tripping a lot because Skate goes so hard. This is just such a different vibe. It's much more poppy to the rest of the album, which feels like the rest of the album so far that has been played feels a bit more, down to earth. It's like Jid's talking to you. You got to sit down and listen to him, and this feels like much more, again, poppy. Like, you want to get up and move and dance. What We On featuring Don Toliver, and I didn't even realize Don Toliver was on this because of like the voice changer. I didn't realize it because he's using a much deeper voice than I'm used to. But listening back to this a few times, I do realize this is Don Toliver. I just not on the first listen through. And I think Don Toliver has an okay feature on here. I wasn't exactly blown away, but I think it's just I thought it was good. I don't think it's bad by any means. Jid's flow again is amazing, and that is very common on this whole album. Is Jid just has an amazing flow that is constantly changing between each song, or he reaches a few, but it's whatever. Besides the point. And the beat is just so chill. Next is Wholeheartedly featuring Ty Dolla Sign and Black. This has a much more somber feeling compared to the rest of the album, especially with the piano, and I think that's a violin. I still really couldn't tell you, but I'm going to say it's a violin. I think the beat drop is brazy. I think it's crazy. I like it a lot. I think Ty Dolla Sign and Black are kind of going off on this album, and I'm not a big Black fan. I've heard a few of his songs, but I'm not the biggest fan of his work. I do like Ty Dolla Sign's work, a few of his songs for sure, and I think that everyone meshes pretty well on this track. All things considered, I think the song fucked. I think it's really good. Next is No Boo featuring Jessie Reyez, if I said that correctly. I like her at the beginning. I think it is really good. I like the back and forth that her and Jid have at the beginning of the track. This also has like somber vibes following Wholeheartedly. That Spanish part came out of nowhere, but it's chill. It's pretty chill. I know on my Travis ranking video, I ranked some of his songs lower because I said it, I don't understand Spanish. But you know what? I really like this song, despite me not knowing what Jesse Reyes is saying in the later half of this track. But I like it. And We Vibing is the interlude. It's chill. It has a really chill vibe to it. I don't really have too much to say about this interlude, to be completely honest. Next is on McAfee featuring Baby Kia, and I'm not a big fan of Baby Kia's feature. I don't think it ruins a song by any means, but I don't think it adds too much to this track. But it is a complete switch up compared to what the interlude was just introducing. Like Shit Got Real. This song, it has like mean ass vibes to it. The beat is good. And it's probably battling work for my least favorite song on the album, to be honest. I think it might be a little bit better than work, but again, I still think this is a good track. Jid still sounds amazing on it. Next is Of Blue featuring Mareba, however you say it. um, this has an insane switch up from Of McAfee. Like, this has a much more somber tone to it, similar to Nobu or Wholeheartedly. I again really like the acoustic guitar. that it has on it. And then there's a wild change up within the song that completely changes the tone of the song again, which is crazy. I mean, this song is wild. There's so much going on in it, dude, and I love it. And then there's a second change up to the change up, and crazy. I thought it went to the next track. Wow, there's so much that you could pick away from this song. That I am not gonna do justice trying to do myself, but this is certainly a song that you should listen to. Next is K Word featuring Pastor Troy. I like Pastor Troy on this track. I think he's pretty good on it. I like Jid's lyrics a lot here, and he mentions Cushion Corinthians, and I'm a big Kendrick meat writer, so this completely reminded me of Section 80 Cushion Corinthians. I don't think it really had any connection, but maybe that could just be a real stretch though. The song got some mean vibes, and you know, it's alright. It's a pretty good song. And to end the album is For Keeps, and this song I think is a nod to his fans, because he mentions like people staying up until 12 to listen to his album, but also him kind of maybe like telling us his comeuppance in a way, um, and a look at his success because he mentions like uploading a song to SoundCloud and it getting 10 views, and him kind of looking at the success he's gotten and kind of being grateful for it, and you know it's kind of relatable, in a way, to put work out there and not really be getting too many views on it or too much recognition. And like I said, Jid deserves a lot of recognition because of how great his music is. Um, but I think he also he's talking about that struggle of getting your name out to everybody and like really showing your talents to those people. So surprise, surprise, I really like this album. I mean, God does like ugly, is fantastic. I think every song brings something new to the table and keeps the album fresh all the way through. No one song sounds like the other, so you're constantly getting something new thrown at you, which is so nice and is so refreshing, especially for an album that's almost an hour long. Jid's production was amazing throughout the entirety of the album. His flows were amazing. His lyrics were amazing. There's so much that you can dig out of each and every song. And I think that's what makes all of these songs really good, is because they all have these deeper meanings that you can take out of them. Um, I'm sure there's plenty of things that Jid is saying on each track that I'm missing out on. Um, but the biggest thing that I kind of took away from this is it feels like this is kind of trying to paint a picture of like what the black experience is within America at some points, and I think that that fits into why the album is called God Does Like Ugly, because God watches these bad things happen to good people within this country. And I think that this is kind of a commentary on that at some level, and I'm sure that somebody that is smarter than me could go through this entirety of this album and make a better case for this claim that I'm making. But that is kind of my takeaway from this. And on top of all this, Jid also brings in really good features that helps really back up, how good these songs are. I think that this is an album that is for sure worth listening to. I think that you are missing out if you aren't listening to this new Jid album, because this is a contender for album of the year, if I'm being honest. I would give this a 9 out of 10. So I mean, this is competing in my mind with Don't Tap the Glass, with Alfredo 2, and with Let God Sort It Out. And I think Let God Sort It Out has the edge over this, but I could easily see how you could say God Does Like Ugly could be like album of the year. Well, if you made it this far, thanks for like watching the whole video. Or if you just skip to the end to see like my my rating on it, thanks for still listening. Maybe if you're still here, maybe give it a like if you are still listening. Maybe subscribe if you feel like it. And what were your thoughts on this album? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? Are there things that I didn't find or I didn't mention you think I'm stupid for it? Let me know. Leave a comment if you feel like it, and I'll see you in the next review. Bye bye. Stay stinky.